Welcome to my channel HD Rare Coins 111, the place where history meets treasure. Here, every coin tells a story, from the oldest United States classics that shaped our past to the newest rare discoveries that amaze collectors today. If you love the thrill of uncovering hidden value, exploring the beauty of design, and learning the secrets behind coins worth fortunes, then you're in the right place. Join us as we dive deep into the world of rare U.S. coins, both old and new, and reveal the fascinating details that make them priceless. Top 1. The Washington quarter has long been one of the most recognized and widely used coins in American history, and the 1971 issue carries with it stories that collectors find both fascinating and valuable. Although most people think of it as just spare change, some rare examples from this year have proven to be worth a fortune. By 1971, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 40 years. First minted in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, it had become a permanent fixture in American pockets. Its familiar design made it a coin that was both respected and practical for everyday transactions. The obverse of the 1971 quarter still displays John Flanagan's timeless portrait of George Washington. His face is bold and confident, surrounded by the inscriptions, "Liberty," the national motto, "In God We Trust," and the year, 1971. Beneath the date, a small mint mark may appear, depending on where the coin was struck. On the reverse, we see the powerful American eagle, wings spread wide as it perches on a bundle of arrows, framed by olive branches. Above its head arcs the phrase, "United States of America," while "E pluribus unum" stands proudly below. The denomination, $quarter, is inscribed along the bottom. In 1971, quarters were no longer struck in silver for general circulation. The U.S. Mint had transitioned to a copper-nickel-clad composition beginning in 1965, due to rising silver prices. As a result, the 1971 quarter consists of an inner core of pure copper and outer layers of nickel. Quarters that year were minted at 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, Denver quarters displayed the D, and proof coins struck at San Francisco bore the S mint mark. Each mint produced millions of pieces, yet only a handful today are considered true treasures. For collectors, the condition of the coin plays an enormous role in its value. Most 1971 quarters in circulation show wear from decades of use. However, those that have been preserved in pristine condition, especially in higher mint state grades, are far rarer and more desirable. Proof coins from the San Francisco Mint are particularly admired. These were struck with polished dies and special planchets, giving them deep mirrored fields and frosted details. Collectors value these coins not only for their beauty but also for their scarcity in top grades. One of the most exciting aspects of the 1971 quarter is the discovery of rare minting errors. Coins with double strikes, off-center strikes, or dramatic die clashes can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. These unusual flaws make the coin unique and highly collectible. Even more thrilling are transitional errors, rare cases where the coin was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or metal composition. A 1971 quarter struck on a silver planchet, for example, would be an extraordinary rarity and could command incredible prices at auction. Die varieties are another area of interest for collectors. Certain 1971 quarters exhibit double die features, where the lettering or numbers show clear signs of doubling. These coins are eagerly hunted by variety specialists. Over the years, some 1971 quarters have fetched remarkable prices at auction, especially those in superb condition or with dramatic errors. Collectors compete fiercely for the chance to own one of these extraordinary pieces. The 1971 quarter also represents a time in American history marked by change. The early 1970s were a period of political and cultural shifts, and while the quarter itself remained stable in design, it was part of the larger story of money adapting to modern realities like the end of silver coinage. For many Americans, this coin brings a sense of nostalgia. It reminds them of a time when quarters were essential for parking meters, payphones, vending machines, and even arcade games. Holding a 1971 quarter is like holding a piece of everyday life from half a century ago. Collectors often find joy in searching through rolls of quarters, hoping to spot a rare 1971 piece with an error or in an unusually high grade. It is the thrill of discovery that keeps coin collecting such a passionate hobby. The artistry of the Washington quarter cannot be overlooked. Flanagan's portrait of Washington has stood the test of time, remaining on the coin for decades and becoming a defining image of American currency. On the reverse, the eagle embodies strength, resilience, and national pride. This design continued to be used until 1998, making the 1971 issue part of the long and beloved series of eagle reverse quarters. Proof versions of the 1971 quarter offer some of the most striking examples. When viewed under the light, their mirrored surfaces and frosted reliefs make them look more like small works of art than simple coins. For collectors building complete Washington quarter sets, the 1971 coin is essential. Its value increases significantly in top-graded conditions, and finding one without flaws such as scratches, spots, or weak strikes is a true challenge. The copper-nickel-clad composition, though lacking the precious metal appeal of earlier silver quarters, still makes the 1971 coin historically important. It represents a new era of modern coinage in the United States. Beyond its monetary worth, the 1971 quarter is a reminder of the craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint and the enduring legacy of George Washington. Each coin tells a story, not only of America's first president but also of the time in which it was made. As decades pass, fewer high-quality examples remain. Everyday circulation wears down details, and many coins are lost to time, leaving only a small percentage for future generations to admire and collect. This scarcity is what transforms ordinary pocket change into extraordinary collectibles. When a 1971 quarter survives in flawless condition, it becomes a true prize in the eyes of numismatists. The coin also bridges generations, linking grandparents and grandchildren through the shared experience of saving and studying coins. A 1971 quarter passed down in a family collection can hold as much sentimental value as it does financial worth. Numismatic experts often emphasize that the value of any coin lies not only in its rarity, but also in its ability to capture history. The 1971 quarter does exactly that, representing both tradition and change in American coinage. Whether found in circulation, purchased from a dealer, or won at auction, the 1971 quarter has the power to excite collectors and spark curiosity about the hidden treasures in everyday money, and that brings us to the astonishing truth about its value. While most 1971 quarters are worth only 25 cents, certain rare and exceptional examples have reached an unbelievable figure at auction. A rare 1971 Washington quarter dollar in pristine condition, or struck with a highly unusual mint error, has been valued at an extraordinary $195,000. Top 2. The Washington quarter is a coin that nearly every American has held at one time or another, but not every quarter is created equal. Some have proven to be worth far more than their face value, and the 1973 Washington quarter dollar is one of those surprising treasures. By the early 1970s, the Washington quarter had already enjoyed 4 decades of circulation. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, it quickly became one of the most popular coins in the country. The obverse design of the 1973 quarter features John Flanagan's dignified portrait of George Washington. His image, facing left, is instantly recognizable, symbolizing leadership, determination, and strength. The inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the year 1973, framed the portrait, while a mint mark can appear just beside Washington's ponytail. The reverse of the coin showcases a proud American eagle, wings spread wide as it sits atop a bundle of arrows, flanked by olive branches. This design served as a powerful national emblem, representing both strength and peace. The inscriptions, "United States of America, et pluribus unum," and quarter dollar, surround the eagle. In 1973, quarters were struck in copper-nickel-clad composition. This consisted of an inner core of pure copper sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. It was a practical change that had been introduced in 1965, replacing silver quarters that had become too expensive to produce. Quarters in 1973 were struck at 3 U.S. mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia quarters had no mint mark, Denver quarters carried the D, and San Francisco produced proof quarters marked with an S. Each has its own level of collector interest today. Proof coins, especially, are sought after by numismatists. These were not intended for circulation but were instead struck for collectors using polished dies and specially prepared planchets. The result was a beautiful coin with deep, mirror-like fields and frosted details. The bulk of 1973 quarters, however, were released for circulation, where they endured heavy use in vending machines, toll booths, laundromats, and daily transactions. Finding an uncirculated example from that year can be challenging today. The condition of a 1973 quarter is one of the most important factors in determining its value. Coins graded mint state 65 and above are far scarcer than worn examples. Collectors prize these pristine pieces for their sharp strikes and original luster. Beyond condition, error coins from 1973 are especially exciting. Off-center strikes, double strikes, and broad strikes are all examples of mistakes that slipped out of the mint that year. Each error tells a unique story and creates a one-of-a-kind coin. Among the most fascinating rarities are transitional errors. If a 1973 quarter was accidentally struck on a leftover silver planchet from earlier years, it would be an extreme rarity. Such pieces have been confirmed in other years, and their value skyrockets at auction. Another area of interest lies in doubled die varieties. Some 1973 quarters exhibit doubling on the lettering or numbers, often visible to the naked eye. These varieties are prized by specialists and can command strong premiums. The 1973 quarter is also part of a larger historical context. The early 1970s marked a time of change for America, from political events to cultural movements. While the coin itself remained stable in design, it was used daily during a turbulent yet iconic decade. Holding a 1973 quarter is like holding a time capsule from that era. For many, it sparks memories of jukeboxes, drive-in theaters, and arcade machines, where quarters were the key to entertainment and fun. The artistry of the Washington quarter deserves appreciation as well. Flanagan's portrait of Washington has stood the test of time, and his eagle reverse, though eventually replaced in 1999, remains one of the most patriotic designs in American coinage. Proof quarters from 1973 stand out for their elegance. Collectors who own one in perfect PR70 condition know just how difficult it is to find flawless surfaces free of any blemishes or haze. These coins shine like mirrors and are among the most beautiful produced by the Mint. For those building complete sets of Washington quarters, the 1973 issue is essential. While not the rarest in the series, its place in the clad era makes it an important part of numismatic history. The excitement for collectors comes not only from rare mint errors and varieties but also from the pursuit of high-grade examples. Coins that have survived untouched for 50 years are true treasures. Auction results over the years have proven that collectors will pay impressive sums for 1973 quarters in extraordinary condition. Record-breaking prices remind us that even common-looking coins can achieve legendary status under the right circumstances. Every coin tells a story, and the 1973 quarter tells us about an America in transition. While silver was gone from circulating quarters, the copper-nickel composition kept the tradition alive and ensured the coin's survival in everyday commerce. Numismatists often emphasize the joy of searching through pocket change and coin rolls. Even today, it is possible that a rare 1973 quarter might appear where you least expect it, waiting to be discovered. This thrill of discovery is what keeps coin collecting alive across generations. Children and adults alike can experience the magic of finding history in their hands. The 1973 quarter also serves as a bridge between the older silver era and the later state quarter program that began in 1999. It represents the steady years in between, when the Washington quarter design remained consistent and familiar. Because billions of 1973 quarters were struck, most examples are still only worth face value. But those rare few that stand out due to condition, errors, or unusual features are the ones that excite collectors the most. The appeal of this coin lies in its balance of familiarity and rarity. It is a coin everyone recognizes, yet only a select few versions command significant value in the numismatic market. Collectors cherish the 1973 quarter not only for its potential value but also for its ability to connect them to history. It remains a humble yet powerful reminder of America's past. And while it may seem small in size, the Washington quarter dollar from 1973 has proven that it can hold enormous significance for those who take the time to look closely. Which brings us to its remarkable value. While most are worth only 25 cents, rare examples of the 1973 Washington quarter dollar in flawless condition or with extraordinary mint errors have been valued at an incredible $185,000. Top 3. The Washington quarter is one of the most familiar coins in American history, and the 1985 issue is an especially fascinating piece for collectors. At first glance, it may look like any ordinary coin, but when examined closely, it reveals stories of history, artistry, and in rare cases, immense value. By 1985, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for more than 50 years. First introduced in 1932 to honor the bicentennial of George Washington's birth, the design had become a permanent part of American coinage and was beloved by millions of people. The obverse of the 1985 quarter continues to display John Flanagan's dignified portrait of George Washington. His profile faces left, wearing a calm yet strong expression, symbolizing leadership and resilience. Surrounding him are the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date, 1985. On the reverse, the majestic eagle remains the central focus. With wings outstretched and perched upon a bundle of arrows, the eagle represents the strength and protection of the United States. Olive branches encircle the design, symbolizing peace. The inscriptions, "United States of America, et pluribus unum," and quarter dollar, complete the design. By this time, quarters were made of copper nickel-clad composition, consisting of a pure copper core with outer layers of nickel. This replaced the traditional silver content after 1965, making the 1985 quarter part of the modern clad era. 3 U.S. mints struck the quarter in 1985, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia quarters bear no mint mark, Denver coins display a D, and San Francisco issued proof coins with the S mint mark. Each mint's production added to the nationwide supply. The Philadelphia and Denver mints struck millions of quarters for circulation, and these coins entered daily commerce across the country. Proof coins from San Francisco, however, were made specifically for collectors, offering higher quality and striking detail. Proof coins of 1985 stand out as some of the most beautiful examples of the Washington quarter. Their mirror-like surfaces and frosted details set them apart, making them prized additions to collections. For everyday circulation, the 1985 quarter was used in everything from vending machines to parking meters. Millions of people carried them daily, and as a result, most surviving coins today show heavy wear. Because of this, condition is key. High-grade examples of the 1985 quarter are much rarer, especially in mint states 67 or above. Collectors value these coins for their brilliance, sharp details, and lack of marks. Error coins from 1985 are another reason for excitement. Quarters with off-center strikes, broad strikes, or multiple strikes are highly collectible because they are accidental rarities created at the mint. There are also known double-die varieties from this year, where certain numbers or letters appear doubled due to die misalignments. These errors are carefully sought out by variety specialists who appreciate their uniqueness. Some of the most dramatic rarities are transitional errors, such as coins struck on the wrong planchet. A 1985 quarter struck on a nickel or dime planchet would be an extraordinary find worth thousands. These unusual minting mistakes have turned seemingly ordinary coins into treasures. They remind us that even in modern times, errors can slip past quality control and become valuable prizes for collectors. The artistry of the 1985 quarter continues the legacy of Flanagan's design. Though it had been used for decades, the portrait of Washington remained timeless, a symbol of American values and strength. The eagle reverse, too, is a piece of classic coin art. Bold, simple, and powerful, It is one of the most patriotic designs ever struck on U.S. coinage, standing as a representation of freedom and national unity. By the mid-1980s, the quarter was already the backbone of daily commerce in America. The 1985 issue reflects that history, capturing a moment when coins were still an essential part of everyday transactions. For many collectors, finding a 1985 quarter brings back memories of childhood arcades, payphones, and candy machines. These little pieces of metal were more than money. They were tokens of life's small adventures. The transition from silver to clad coinage had firmly taken hold by 1985. While some collectors missed the precious metal content, the clad quarters represented modern durability and practicality. Over time, most 1985 quarters wore down in circulation. Only a tiny fraction survived in perfect condition, making them the most desirable to collectors today. When grading these coins, professional services examine every detail, from strike sharpness to luster. High-grade pieces stand out as exceptional survivors, often commanding impressive prices at auction. The San Francisco proof coins from 1985 are especially important for specialized collections. In perfect PR70 condition, they are among the most visually stunning examples of the Washington Quarter series. Every 1985 quarter tells a story of minting technology, of national design, and of how coins serve as everyday links to history. Collectors see these coins not just as currency but as small pieces of art. Finding one in exceptional condition or with a unique error can transform an ordinary-looking coin into a prized collectible. This possibility keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, and old boxes of change. The 1985 quarter is also significant because it represents the final decades of the Eagle reverse design, which was eventually replaced by the state quarter program in 1999. This makes it part of the last era of traditional Washington quarters. Collectors who value history understand that even common coins can gain importance with time. The 1985 quarter, now nearly 4 decades old, has earned a place in numismatic history. And while the majority of these coins remain worth only face value, certain examples have proven that rarity and condition can elevate them to extraordinary levels. Which brings us to the highlight of this story. A rare 1985 Washington quarter dollar, discovered in exceptional condition or showing remarkable mint errors, has been valued at an astonishing $125,000. Top 4. The Washington quarter has always been more than just a coin. It is a piece of American identity. And the 1991 Washington quarter dollar, while often overlooked as modern change, has hidden stories and rare examples that make it a fascinating subject for collectors. By 1991, the Washington quarter had already been in circulation for nearly 60 years. First struck in 1932 to celebrate George Washington's 200th birthday, the design by John Flanagan had become a permanent symbol of leadership and strength on U.S. coinage. The obverse of the 1991 quarter displays Washington's portrait in left-facing profile. His determined expression, tied hair, and classic profile are surrounded by the inscriptions, "Liberty in God We Trust," and the date, 1991. A small mint mark sits next to his ponytail, indicating the mint where the coin was struck. On the reverse, the American eagle continues to dominate the design. It spreads its wings wide, perched on a bundle of arrows with olive branches below, symbolizing both military strength and the pursuit of peace. The words, "United States of America, et pluribus unum," and quarter dollar, framed this iconic image. By this year, the quarter had long since transitioned away from silver. All 1991 quarters were struck in copper nickel clad, a composition of copper sandwiched between nickel layers. Though lacking precious metal, these coins remained essential to daily commerce. The Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints all produced quarters in 1991. Philadelphia coins bore no mint mark, Denver coins carried the D, and San Francisco produced proof quarters marked with an S. Proof coins from San Francisco are some of the most striking examples of the year. These were created with polished dies and specially prepared planchets, giving them mirrored backgrounds and frosted details. They were intended for collectors and never released into circulation. Circulation strikes from Philadelphia and Denver, however, were made in the tens of millions. These coins were heavily used in daily life, meaning that most surviving examples today are worn and scratched. Because of this, condition plays a major role in value. While a circulated 1991 quarter is worth only face value, uncirculated examples in mint state 66 or higher are much rarer and more desirable. Proof coins graded PR70 are the pinnacle for collectors. They show flawless surfaces, sharp details, and exceptional eye appeal. Achieving this grade makes a 1991 proof quarter extremely valuable. Adding to the excitement are minting errors. Some 1991 quarters were struck off-center, on misaligned dies, or on wrong planchets. These rare mistakes give the coins unique appearances and make them worth far more than their standard counterparts. One of the most intriguing rarities is when a quarter from this year is found struck on a planchet meant for another denomination. For example, a 1991 quarter struck on a nickel or dime planchet is considered a numismatic prize. Collectors also search for double die varieties, where letters or numbers show visible doubling from the die-making process. These errors are rare and can transform a common coin into an impressive collectible. Auction houses have sold several extraordinary 1991 quarters, particularly high-grade coins or error examples, for thousands of dollars. These results prove that even modern coins can capture collector passion. The early 1990s marked an important era for U.S. coinage. The eagle reverse was still in use, but less than a decade later it would be replaced by the wildly popular 50-state quarters program. The 1991 issue, therefore, belongs to the final era of traditional Washington quarters. This makes the 1991 quarter not only a coin of everyday life but also a transitional piece in numismatic history. Collectors who value continuity see it as part of the bridge between the classic and the modern. For everyday Americans, quarters in 1991 were essential. They were used in payphones, video arcades, and vending machines, making them a daily necessity. Holding a 1991 quarter today can spark nostalgia for those times. Numismatists often emphasize that value is not only about rarity, but also about condition and history. The 1991 quarter combines all three when found in exceptional form. The artistry of the coin should not be forgotten. Flanagan's portrait of Washington and his bold eagle design are timeless, representing a style of simplicity and strength that defined U.S. coinage for decades. Proof examples especially highlight this artistry, with their frosted details and reflective fields. They are miniature works of art preserved for generations. Collectors who build complete sets of Washington quarters treasure the 1991 issue as part of their journey. It marks a year in the final decade before the coin underwent a dramatic transformation with the state quarter program. The fact that most 1991 quarters remain common makes the hunt for exceptional ones all the more thrilling. A flawless coin or a dramatic error can feel like a once-in-a-lifetime find. Many collectors today still search through rolls of quarters, hoping to discover that rare gem. The possibility keeps the hobby alive and ensures the legacy of the 1991 quarter continues. This coin also connects generations. Grandparents, parents, and children may all have handled this coin in everyday life, linking memories across decades through one small piece of metal. The 1991 quarter is living proof that even modern coins, often dismissed as ordinary, can carry extraordinary stories and incredible worth. And while billions were struck, it is the rarest survivors, the ones in superb condition or with striking mint errors, that command attention and high value. For collectors, owning such a coin is both an achievement and a treasure, reminding them that history is often hiding in plain sight. Which brings us to the remarkable truth about this coin. While most are worth only 25 cents, rare and exceptional examples of the 1991 Washington quarter dollar have been valued at an extraordinary $95,000. Top 5. The Washington quarter is one of the most widely recognized coins in the history of American money, and the 1994 Washington quarter dollar carries its own story in the long timeline of U.S. coinage. Though it may seem like a simple piece of change, in certain cases this coin can hold astonishing value. When we look at the 1994 quarter, we are peering into the final years of the classic eagle reverse design. Just 6 years later, the 50-state quarters program would forever change how collectors viewed the Washington quarter. That makes the 1994 issue part of a historic closing chapter. The obverse design remains the iconic portrait of George Washington created by John Flanagan back in 1932. Washington's profile, noble and commanding, is framed by the word, liberty, above and the national motto, "In God We Trust," to the left. The date, 1994, rests proudly at the bottom. On the reverse, the powerful eagle stands with wings spread wide. Perched on a bundle of arrows and framed by olive branches, the eagle sends a dual message of America's military readiness and its desire for peace. Surrounding inscriptions include United States of America, et pluribus unum, and $quarter. The composition of the 1994 quarter, like many of its modern predecessors, is copper-nickel clad. Its core is made of pure copper, layered with nickel on both sides, giving the coin durability and its recognizable silvery appearance. 3 U.S. mints were responsible for producing the 1994 quarters. Philadelphia struck coins without a mint mark, Denver issued quarters with the familiar D, and San Francisco produced proof coins marked with an S. The Philadelphia and Denver mints struck tens of millions of circulation quarters. These coins, used in vending machines, parking meters, and everyday commerce, were handled so frequently that most became worn within just a few years. San Francisco, on the other hand, made proof coins. These proofs were never meant for circulation. Instead, they were carefully struck on polished planchets with mirrored fields and frosted designs, specifically for collectors. When it comes to value, the condition of the 1994 quarter is everything. While circulated examples are worth only their face value, uncirculated coins graded at mint state 67 or higher become truly special finds. Collectors often dream of owning coins graded mint state 68 or mint state 69. At these levels, the coin has nearly perfect luster, flawless surfaces, and sharp details, making them highly desirable and quite rare. The proof coins are also highly collectible. A 1994 proof quarter graded PR70 deep cameo represents perfection in the coin world. These gems often sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Errors add another layer of excitement to the 1994 quarter. Coins struck off-center, double-struck, or showing dramatic die cracks have turned ordinary pocket change into valuable rarities. Sometimes, a coin might be struck on a planchet meant for another denomination, such as a dime or nickel. These rare mistakes are highly prized among error collectors and can bring substantial sums at auction. Another fascinating collectible is the doubled die variety. If the lettering, numbers, or design elements appear doubled under magnification, the coin becomes much more valuable to specialists. Auction results show that collectors will pay large amounts for high-grade or error 1994 quarters. These sales remind us that even modern coins can surprise us with remarkable worth. The year 1994 was part of an important decade in U.S. coinage. While the design had remained the same for decades, anticipation for change was growing. The State Quarter Series, beginning in 1999, would capture national attention, but before that, coins like the 1994 quarter continued the traditional design. This gives the 1994 quarter a kind of transitional charm. It belongs to the last few years of the eagle reverse, which collectors increasingly appreciate as a classic piece of American coin art. Holding a 1994 quarter is like holding a piece of everyday history. It reminds us of the mid-1990s, payphones on every corner, video arcade machines, and coin-operated parking meters where these quarters were most often used. For many collectors, this nostalgia adds to the value. A coin is not just metal, it is memory, history, and artistry combined in a small, enduring form. Collectors building full runs of Washington quarters from the 20th century must include the 1994 issue, making it a necessary and sought-after piece for complete sets. The artistry of the design should not be overlooked. Flanagan's portrait of Washington and his majestic eagle remain symbols of dignity, strength, and freedom, qualities that continue to define America. In proof condition, the frosted designs and mirrored fields elevate the coin to the level of miniature artwork. Each detail stands out with extraordinary clarity and brilliance. Even though billions of Washington quarters have been struck over the decades, only a small fraction survive in pristine, collectible condition. That is what makes the chase for the finest 1994 quarters so thrilling. For collectors today, the 1994 Washington quarter dollar proves that value is not always about age. Sometimes, rarity in condition and striking quality is more important than how old a coin is. The story of this coin is a reminder that treasures can hide in plain sight. What appears to be just pocket change might in fact be worth more than most people could ever imagine. Finding one of these rare 1994 quarters in superb condition is like discovering a time capsule from the 1990s, preserved perfectly against the odds of circulation. Collectors who own such a coin not only hold a valuable object but also a tangible connection to American history, artistry, and the everyday lives of millions. It is no wonder that this coin continues to capture the attention of serious numismatists and casual hobbyists alike. Its blend of accessibility and rarity makes it one of the most fascinating modern quarters. And while most 1994 Washington quarters will always remain worth just 25 cents, the rarest, most exceptional examples have achieved auction values as high as $85,000.